back from Barbados. You look like you're having some fun there.
I love Barbados. I love being on the islands in general. I feel very much at home there.
You were with some youngsters in karts, I saw.
Yeah, well, the government's getting involved in trying to help encourage young kids on another path, which is great to see.
I stood about this close to you on the Sochi podium, which is the last time I saw you. You didn't look quite as happy.
I closed the gap down from, 13, 14 seconds to 7 seconds, and then when you're told that you can't continue to fight, that's, not a great feeling. But of course, I'm here to win. I'm only here for one thing, and absolutely, I've had gearbox failure, engine failure, and then, I nearly had another engine failure. I've only got 2 engines left for the year, potentially, or at least 2 turbos left for the rest of the year. For sure, I'm going to have to take a penalty at some stage. I'm going to have to start from most likely dead last. So, of course, I'm not, hey, yeah, this is great. I'm 43 points behind. So. And
you've got these 2 reprimands as well,
yeah.
Which I have to say, I don't think you deserved either of them, really. I thought they were outrageous.
The rules that, particularly in the last race, for example, it's done for a safety reason. I tried to make the corner, and I literally only just didn't make it. I backed off, I didn't gain an advantage, and ultimately the rule is there to make sure you don't gain an advantage, but then you get a penalty for it. And I think afterwards I was kind of like, well, you know what? If you're going to penalise me, give me a fine me. Give me a fine, and put the money towards the road safety campaign. Do something positive at least.
I think one thing that could play into your hands is back in 2014 when you had to turn it around. If you didn't finish first in a Mercedes, you were pretty much guaranteed to finish second, providing you finished. Whereas now you're going to have to think about Red Bull and Ferrari getting in between. If you have a bit of an off day, that might enable you to score a few more points.
Well, I mean, the good thing is Ferrari is strong, and I think they can, of course, they have the potential to take points from either of us. For me, it's how am I going to win the race when I have to start dead last if I have to take a penalty? If I get 10th place penalty from the next reprimand, which can come from the smallest thing.
I don't want to go anywhere near conspiracy theory because it's just ridiculous to think a team like Mercedes or any team would compromise one of their own cars.
Yep.
The fans will ask, why change a winning team?
Well, I don't know the answer to it, so I can't answer that for you.
Were you surprised when you heard that, when there were some changes being made? Toto said it was because there was getting a bit of a competitive imbalance within the garage and he wanted to mix it up a little bit.
When you work with a group of guys so closely, you build a bond that it's kind of hard to explain, but they're your soldiers, that's your squad, and it was emotional for all of us. Those that were particularly really connected in that way, and so much success and ups and downs we've had, because that's what you experience it together. So for sure that was a little bit difficult at the beginning, but now I'm experiencing that with some new guys who are just as enthusiastic, just as driven to want to win.
You won your 3rd world title in Austin last year, and then you said, my work is done for the year. Nico took off. Was it a mistake to let him grow in confidence like that? And because he's not stopped winning since, he's won every race since.
I think it's been good for Nico. He's had a few wins. Now he's had some more this year. He's not really had a challenge from me in that respect.
Because he used this race last year, but he won well. But this was a springboard for him last season. So you've got to do exactly the opposite, haven't you, this weekend?
Yeah, this is definitely a race that I'm hoping that I'm able to try and use as a springboard.
Are you still totally in love with Formula One?
I don't know if I would say in love is the way I'd put it.
Were you once? Are you less in love with F1 than you used to be?
I don't think I was ever in love with it. I mean, I love driving cars. I'm in love with cars. I do definitely enjoy it just as much as I ever have. I'm a lot more comfortable in my roots are fully grown in here, as deep as they can go really within Formula One. So I feel very, very comfortable. I feel very much a part of the sport. I'm proud to be an integral part of it now, as a champion. So,
will you be the 2016 Formula One world champion?
Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm going to give it everything I've got and just hope that things stick together and then try to take it as far as it can go.
Good luck with that journey.
Thank you, mate.
So there are a couple of British newspapers today leading with the rumour, and I say rumour, that Lewis Hamilton might take a break in 2017. Is that news to you?
Yeah, that is news to me. Certainly did mention it to me.
Okay. With the way things are going for him at the moment, people are talking about the changes in the garage. I know that you guys are getting a little bit tired about talking about it. Just, put that to bed if you could as well for us, and just explain exactly why the situation, again, for us, and for those at home, why this has been done.
A team today is a large organization. In total, between the engine part and the chassis part, we have 1,300 people. And we grow them and we move them in order to develop the organization. And there are some really good guys in the garage and the mechanics, and this is why we sometimes shuffle the organization around to give them more potential for growth. A number one mechanic can one day become a chief mechanic, and the chief mechanic one day can become technical director, sporting director, and this is just needed. And we've done that in many areas of the team, and this is one which is very exposed, of course, for the media, but none of the issues we had on the car had anything to do with any of the individuals.
The interview we just shown with Lewis, you may not have heard what he was saying, but what he was basically saying was he had a kind of crew, his soldiers he called them, on his car. Did you feel like it was just getting too kind of divided into Lewis's gang and Nico's gang? Was that part of the reason?
It wasn't so much the gang, but you could see that when a driver wins, his exuberance kind of translates into his guys, and when he loses, the mood is very down. And what we try to avoid those swings, and to try to give these good guys a perspective that the team as an overall wins. And I think that the result was successful. Both of the crews who have been switched were skeptical at the beginning because the identification with the driver is very strong, but now they enjoy it a lot and they've seen a different way of working, and as an organization we grew.
I've got to ask you one question, Toto, because I mean the competition is hotting up. I mean, we've seen mechanical failures. You're starting to sort of, it's like there are slightly small cracks developing. Are you pushing to the very limit now, do you feel, from the pressure from below, from Ferrari?
We are pushing very hard in every area. We're trying to extract the maximum performance we can achieve in order to stay where we are and keep the advantage. And it's, of course, if you stretch the boundaries at a certain moment, you reach the limits, and the limits as a driver, you either go off track, and as a mechanical racing team, you have failures, and this is pretty normal, I guess.
I think what's fueling the fires for some people, Toto, is just that Lewis keeps saying, I don't know why they've made these changes to the crew. You have explained that to him, haven't you?
No, I think he was caught off after the race, having said that, and I think that was distorted afterwards. We had him say many times and confirm many times that he's absolutely happy with his crew and that he believes in his soldiers, and there is not such an issue. You can tweak everything.
Of course. Hopefully that really has cleared up the issue for those. Just finally, Nico, what was the issue with his car there? Any problem?
We had a sensor problem, and hopefully that should be solved.
Okay, appreciate your time, Toto. Thanks very much. Right, let's get the mechanic's perspective. Mark Priestley, former McLaren mechanic, is with